Hello, I'm Sheila Rogers. Welcome to a special documentary vignette, the third in a series produced by the Mariposa Folk Foundation. This episode is a co-promotion with imagineNATIVE, which mounts the fabulous annual imagineNATIVE Film and Media Arts Festival every year. And this episode features the music of the legendary Buffy Sainte-Marie. Buffy Sainte-Marie has been a big part of Mariposa since the early days of its 60-year history. Back in 1964, Buffy was booked to headline Mariposa. The day before the festival, a legal dispute left the organizers scrambling to secure Maple Leaf Stadium, a baseball stadium in Toronto, as the venue. Well, they got it. And in spite of the rain and the cold, Buffy's performance received 4 encores. She was the hit of the festival, and she's been loved by Mariposa audiences ever since. Buffy's career has been driven by her enormous energy, her uncompromising ideals, her phenomenal creativity, and her strongly held Cree values. She came to prominence in the 1960s with politically charged songs that led her to being blacklisted by American radio stations. She moved on. I love that. I think we've got a raven for Buffy. She moved on to become the first Indigenous person to win an Academy Award, receiving an Oscar for Best Original Song. She was a longtime star of Sesame Street, and just this past year, she wrote a children's book about an abiding passion, animal adoption, and the book is called Hey Little Rockabye. In addition to her own success, Buffy has been a sought-after songwriter for other stars, from Elvis Presley to Janis Joplin. Buffy's most recent album, the Juno Award-winning Medicine Songs, is yet another timeless work of art and of resistance. Here's a montage that takes us through her amazing career.
Well, when I was a young girl, I learned not to care for whiskey, and from it I often did swear. My mother and father said whiskey's a curse, but the fate of their baby was many times worse.
In any situation where you have hunters, sooner or later the musician in the tribe is going to figure out that you can make music with a hunting bow. Move your mouth like you would with a jew's harp, see, and change the cavity of your mouth. And you pick on it with a stick, or I use a little guitar pick here. And then, if you want to get fancy, you bend it. And you get low ones. Will your horse carry double, Uncle Joe, Uncle Joe? Will your horse carry double, Uncle Joe, Uncle Joe? Don't mind the weather when the wind don't blow. Hop up, my ladies, 2 in a row. Don't mind the weather when the wind don't blow. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and around. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and around. Swing your girl, fiddler say, later on the piper pay. Do-si-do, swing and sway, dead will dance on Judgment Day. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around.
There used to be this song, it was sung in Northern California, like a campfire, you know, around the campfire song. All the hippies up there singing the rainbow, Kool-Aid, acid people, but only had one verse. I think that's all you needed in those days. We are circling together. We are singing a heart song. This is family. This is unity. This is celebration. This is sacred. When I was first coming up, show business was billing me as a folk singer, and I had written this. I was lucky enough to be around real folk singers like Joan Baez and Pete Seeger and Ewan McCall and people like that who were singing these, 300-year-old folk songs, and, I sang a few, but they didn't really count because mine had written myself the weekend before. I'd written this one song that was a love song, and you had to be careful in those days because you could get in trouble with the folk police if you drifted too far one way or the other. And I finally admitted I wrote it. We'll make a space and the lives that we planned. And here we'll stay until it's time for you to go. And here we'll stay until it's time for you to go. This is a song that I actually finished it at the Purple Onion in Toronto. And I think it was probably one of the first songs I ever sang at Mariposa. I saw wounded soldiers being wheeled into San Francisco airport. I just got to thinking, who's responsible for war? Is it enlisted guys lying there, you know, who signed up to do something patriotic or traditional in their family or see the world or something? And as proud as I am of my generation for having helped to stop that war and put Lyndon Johnson out of business, there's still something we didn't do. In North America today, we have 5 heavily funded colleges of war. You got the Air Force Academy in Annapolis and West Point and the Royal Military Academy and the Army College of War, charming. And we don't have one college of seriousness and clout dedicated to alternative conflict resolution, which can be taught. Remember Gandhi, remember Jesus, remember Martin Luther King. So then I'm thinking, okay, who is it who presses the button or makes the phone call to actually start a war? Who is it who votes through the politicians? It's us, you know. So this is a song about individual responsibility for the world we're living in. He's the universal soldier, and he really is to blame. But his orders come from far away no more. They come from him and you and me. And brothers, can't you see? This is not the way we put an end to war. And war is never ever holy. It's just a greedy man's dream. And you two-faced crusaders, both sides are obscene. War's not made by God. War's just made by men who misdirect our attention while you thieves do your thing. It's the war racket. It's the war racket. It's the war racket. I got lucky another time with a little song I found in my piano, and it went out and it won me an Academy Award, and I didn't even have to sing it.
The winners are Jack Leachy, Buffy Sainte-Marie, and Will Jennings, and Everywhere Belong from an Officer in the Band.
Thank you from me too. Marty Alfong, Stuart Levine, Joe Conker, Jennifer Warren, Kurt Sobel, my mom, my little boy Cody. Thank you very much. Love, lift us up where we belong. Where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love, lift us up where we belong. From the worlds we know, of where the clear winds blow. Like that good old pecking order from Europe that made all the Europeans wanted to come over here. Seems like it's on the rise again, that thing called power, right? That kind of oppressive pecking order kind of power. There's another kind of power. Indigenous people throughout the world know about the power to do things better than that, to depend on your own DNA, to not be afraid to evolve and find new ways. It's called power in the blood. Never see a uniform on Wall Street. Power in the blood, justice in the soul.
Wow, that was fantastic. That montage really takes in the whole breadth of Buffy's career, her incredible talent, and it shows how her influence and political activism are as relevant today as they ever were. Celeigh Cardinal is a rising star on the Canadian music scene. Last year, she released her second album, Stories from a Downtown Apartment, and it won her the 2020 Juno for Indigenous Artist of the Year. Celeigh's dedicated to creating more opportunities for Indigenous artists across Canada, following Buffy's influence on generations of Indigenous performers, including Celeigh herself. Here is Celeigh Cardinal, who will deliver a powerful, emotional performance of Buffy Sainte-Marie's Universal Soldier.
Hello, Mariposa Folk Fest. My name is Celeigh Cardinal, and I am so happy to be part of this series. I was really looking forward to spending some time at Mariposa Folk Fest this year, but what are we gonna do, right? But this opportunity is very exciting to me to talk about a songwriter, a performer who I look up to and admire, and that songwriter and performer is Buffy Sainte-Marie. I was a bit of a late bloomer into discovering Buffy Sainte-Marie. I grew up with a completely different music scene and with different influences. But as I got older, I learned more about Buffy, and I learned more about her influence, her activism, and I've considered her to be the Cookham of the Canadian music scene, and somebody who has inspired me to dig into my own personal activism and take a look at what I stand for and how I'm going to communicate that. And I have a funny story. I met Buffy Sainte-Marie a few years ago at Folk Alliance International, and when I did, I was with a couple of other younger Indigenous musicians, and when I met her, I said, I've actually met you before. I said, I opened for you back in 2008 at this theater in Grand Prairie, and she smiled graciously. Of course, I'm sure she's met a lot of musicians in her time, but everyone in that circle had the same story. They also said, I opened for you too. And it's just funny that this woman, just her career alone and her performances have given so much space and opportunity for other Indigenous musicians to have a platform to open for Buffy Sainte-Marie is something that gives an exposure to audiences who wouldn't have known about you in the first place. So even just by performing and hiring local Indigenous musicians to open for her, she has made a significant impact in the Indigenous musical community and all music, really. So I'm gonna play the song for you, Universal Soldier, and I'm gonna try not to cry, which I almost do every single time at the end of the song. He's 5'2" and he's 6'4". He fights with missiles and with spears. He's all of 31 and he's only 17. He's been a soldier for 1,000 years. He's a Catholic, a Hindu, an atheist, a Jain, a Buddhist and a Baptist and a Jew. And he knows he shouldn't kill, and he knows he always will kill. You for me, my friend, and me for you. And he's fighting for Canada, he's fighting for France, he's fighting for the USA. He's fighting for the Russians, and he's fighting for Japan. And he thinks we'll put an end to war this way. And he's fighting for democracy, he's fighting for the Reds. He says it's for the peace of it all. And he's the one who must decide who's to live and who's to die. And he never sees the writing on the walls. But without him, how would Hitler have condemned him as a cow. Without him, Caesar would have stood alone. He's the one who gives his body as a weapon to the war. And without him, all this killing can't go on. He's the universal soldier, and he really is to blame. His orders come from far away, no more. They come from him and you and me, and brothers, can you see? This is not the way we put an end to war. Thank you, Buffy.
Yes, thank you, Buffy. And thank you, Celeigh Cardinal. What a beautiful, intimate rendition of Buffy's anti-war anthem, Universal Soldier. As with all great art, that song is timeless. It was powerful in the 60s, but it feels like it could have been written today. Thank you again, Celeigh. And I love how you honor Buffy as the cookum of the Canadian music scene and as someone who's inspired your own activism. Thank you all for joining us for this special production of the Mariposa Virtual Stage, and deep thanks to the Mariposa Folk Foundation. I hope you'll take the time to visit mariposafolk.com, the website where you can always find ways to support the foundation and its mission by making a donation, becoming a member, or signing up to receive news and updates. I'm Shelagh Rogers, and just before I leave, I had a chance to talk to Buffy a couple of years ago, and she said, "Shelagh, we gotta talk." And we all gotta talk. But right above that, she says, "Keep your nose on the joy trail." And I think that's really good advice. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon at Mariposa.